Welcome back, everyone. You're watching the training week from January 20th, where the weekly focus was, you guessed it, Pagan Coleman. I also had a lot of focus this week on my giant Diame technique, and man, really I feel like I have a lot to say about this week. Highlight of the week was my first attempt in a Pagan Coleman connection in a first time in a long time, about 4 years. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Misha and I love gymnastics, and here you can watch pretty much every single meaningful turn I've taken on the equipment in the last 4 years or so. So man, where do we begin? There was 360 camp, which is like our national squad camp, on Saturday to Tuesday, and I was unable to participate until the Monday and the Tuesday, and I think I got a little bit overexcited because straight into the first day of the week on Monday, I started doing some releases and doing things I don't usually do on Monday. I also had a lot going on in this week and the week prior, like outside of my training, so I was just so exhausted by the time Tuesday finished. I actually had to take Wednesday and Thursday off. So lots of energy in the 360 camp. Actually, another highlight would have been I did another stoop half tucked Gaylord 2 connection, so, and just did a lot more Gaylord 2 work from the top change in general to try to suss that out a bit better. Yeah, so stoop halves were feeling better this week. But yeah, clearly the obvious highlight is Pagan Coleman. I think the other day Will asked me, dude, what, you're just talking about Pagan Coleman. I'm like, yes, the only thing that's in my heart, on my mind, inside, outside of the gym right now is that Pagan Coleman. So apparently you can catch a stoop half to horizontal and still send a tuck Gaylord 2, and that's good to know. So Tuesday was the first day that I was, purposefully thinking, okay, if I catch a good Pagan, I'm gonna send the Coleman right after. So you can see there Logan from Wellington sliding the pad in case I get lucky. But this day, that you got to catch at full stretch, and you know that. But I was letting that second skill, I was letting the idea of the Coleman influence the Pagan. Sometimes the bar has a bit too much chalk on it, so I have to abort mission and re-chalk it. But I didn't manage any caught Pagans at all on that Tuesday, but did manage to suss out a nice kick out timing. I think it was my last turn where I really felt like, aha, that's what I need to do. Okay, so that was ideal. That one right there. Nice knees through the bottom, perfect kick out timing, really good catch position. And slowly started working away at my flick flag. Just did a few attempts, watching for that earlier snap down so that my shoulders are closing when my hands make contact on the floor. But nothing fancy here. Okay, Friday, so I had 2 days off. I still didn't quite feel right in the morning when I woke up, and I almost contemplated having another day off, but decided to go for it, and boy, I'm glad I did. This day there was something different here. I put in my head, forget the Coleman, your focus is to do a perfect Pagan, and that means in my case flipping a little bit more, and there we have it, fam. Flipping a little bit more, not caring about anything else. And what I'm over the moon about is that was actually a really clean Pagan for me. Feet were almost glued together, and of course you play it on the safe side, and I almost repeated it. So that one caught a bit later, probably could have gone, but because I caught so late it would have been even further from the bar. And it's as I thought. Doing a Pagan is much different than doing a standing front half off the bar. So I'm pretty much I'm only going to do the standing front halves as necessary and start getting more of those Pagan Coleman repetitions to figure out what kind of tap timing I need after catching that ideal Pagan at full stretch. And every time you get lucky and you catch one in a good distance, you go for the Coleman and you start figuring things out. So I was pretty stoked about that turn. And I wasn't something that day, like I wasn't as nervous or as scared. It's like there was the usual kind of fear and nervousness about doing the big releases, but a part of me was like underneath that fear in this like vast ocean. And I remember actually sitting down after that high bar session, just giving myself some like 5 minutes to just sit down and try to digest that state to see if I can keep it for next time, because I'm sure you've had like high energy experiences which eventually fizzle out and you can't maintain them. For example, after you come back from a massive competition and you have all this inspiration and motivation for like a week or two, but then it fizzles out. So I sat there and just tried to internalize that state more and more so that perhaps I can enter it once again sometime soon. Now the giant Dyamonov work, I guess long story short, as I initiate the twist, you can see that my hips are quite open, and I almost like throw my right arm back into an arch while my knees are still bent. And what I was doing after studying a few different giant DMs, especially Daniel Levers, I think he had one of the best spin initiations in the world, but also Vitaly Sherbo I was looking at. And Vitaly Sherbo was interesting because he initiated the turn in tuck all the way through to 92, and then came 93 worlds, and I noticed all of a sudden he's straightening his knees out before he initiates the turn, and that's exactly the change that I'm going to go after. So all those drills you saw me doing on the trampoline, etc., were exactly for that, trying to kick my knees straight and then initiate the twist. And another biggie of the week, Casinas are back in action. First one stung a little bit, the second one felt better, and look at that, high fives all around. High fives all around, and I felt like, wow, that's like the last big skill to come back. We're not going to count catch-ups just yet, because no need to do that one just yet, but even managed to get a hand on the bar and finish the week off with some decent stoop halves. Not quite the same stoop half from the Tuesdays though, but actually I think this one, I remember this one, I thought, oh man, why'd you split your legs? It wasn't even that far off to the side. Now, what else did I do on Saturday? I think I did a bunch of P-bar and finished off with I wanted to mention about the Azerian training. I think doing that bungee technique has kind of taught me the wrong technique, because the bungee's attached quite high on your upper body, so it gives you like this. The idea is the bungee kind of lifts you, takes some load off, but also what it does is it rotates you backwards during that Azerian quite a lot, so you don't have to work for the rotation. And one thing that I was noticing, that I have to start doing it without the bungee, because the rotation aspect of the Azerian is way different. So at the end of this week, I decided to do a few reps, and literally just like after a couple of reps of going at about 50% or so, trying to feel the rotation, not so much focusing on pulling down, my technique changed a little bit, and I feel like my body started to understand how to do it a bit more efficiently. So I'm gonna incorporate more of that sort of Azerian work from here on out. So yeah, I think I wasted a couple of months on that bungee, but I wouldn't say I wasted it. I'm sure I developed some sort of a strength, but it's definitely time to take the next step. So here we're just looking at the knees relative to when I start the spin, trying to make sure the knees are a straight like kick and then spin. Like that was pretty good. Not too much openness, no knees apart. When I do it in the middle, I still freak out a little bit. It feels a bit foreign, but I don't know if you can tell, but the spin is getting a little bit quicker. And that's how the week went. Massive week. Gonna keep chipping away at the dreams. Thanks for your support. All the best. Until next time.